Hey gardeners, it's late May, and I'm going to give you an update on the fig plants that I put into the ground here. Most of them were planted last year around this time, so let's take a look and see how they're doing. This is the white Genoa. This particular cultivar struggles a little bit in our desert heat. It's really meant for cooler climates. You can see it's putting on figs, and this one was unusual. It actually started producing figs in December and January when we were quite cold here. So a nice in-between fig cultivar for fruit. Last year in May, I put in a bunch of 1 gallon plants that I got from CNY. So we'll take a look at those. This is one of them. This is the Bourgeois Gris. You can see a few figs on this one. Not a whole lot, but it's about 3 feet tall now. Some main crop coming in. Over here is an LSU Champagne. This one I got from Just Fruit and Exotics. And it's really loaded with figs. Last year I got some figs, but they dropped prematurely, so I never got to taste this type. And I also have a graft down here. This is a Stella fig. Back here is a LSU Scotts Black. It's gotten quite tall. It's about 5 feet tall. This was one of the CNY figs. See some main crop coming in. Over here is the Texas Everbearing. I love this fig. It's definitely true to its name. It produces just a huge number of figs every year. They are on the sweeter side. I do have grafts on this tree. I'm actually not really sure what this is. I bought this as a Jolly Tiger. The leaves for sure are not variegated, as you can see. May or may not be that type. Back here we can see some more grafts. Down here is the Galicia Negra. No actual figs fruiting yet on this one. And I have another graft over here, and this is a Makedonian Dark. And it actually does have a fig on there already. It's kind of cool to see. Over here I have a Cul de Dame Noir. See some Breba fruit there. And then I also see some main crop forming. Over here is a Pastillier, and this was recently planted, so fall. I put this one in the ground. And it's just starting some main crop forming there. Over here is an LSU Purple. This one I've actually had for a couple of years now. It really didn't do a whole lot. And I'm not seeing any figs really coming in yet. But hopefully this will be the year. I hear these are a pretty good sugar fig. Over here's a green Greek that I got from Ben B. in Seattle. It's supposed to be a really tasty berry type fig. And we've got some figs going here. I'm excited to try these. This is a Nordland. He's actually come from Switzerland, so this is kind of crazy growing this, you know, in a climate that reaches well in excess of 100 degrees. He was also planted in fall, so not huge at this point. No fruiting yet. This one's put on a major amount of growth. This is the LSU Scotts Yellow. About 5.5 feet tall at this point. Full of fruit. And I have a graft on here of Figo Prado. You can see that is setting fruit. And all my grafts, I'm letting them set fruit here because figs grow really well in our climate, in the heat. Really don't need to thin them off. The trees can support them. I feed my fig trees regularly, and with the sun and the heat, they really thrive here. Next door is an Adriana. And the Adriana puts on a light, refreshing type of fig. It's not as strong of a flavor profile, but just that nice, light strawberry pulp. This one is setting its main crop. Over here we have a Violette de Bordeaux. This tree for me has performed really well the last year. Just constantly puts out figs. If you're a fan of berry figs, I strongly recommend getting a Violette de Bordeaux. They're by far the most productive of the berry type figs. And they also have a dwarf growing habit, so you can grow them if you don't have the space to put them in ground. Let's see, and I do have a graft here. So this right here is a white Adriatic. Moving down this fig hedge. This is an Olympian fig, and I got this plant from Wellsprings. And what's kind of cool is it's fruiting. So this was a $5 plant. I can't speak to the quality of the fruit yet, since this will be its first year fruiting, but to go from a little tissue plant to this is pretty amazing in 1 year. LSU Tiger is the one that really blows me away. Just the amount of fruit and then these leaves. I mean, look at this. This is just massive. The leaves it puts out. This thing is above the wall height. And you can see the figs. So it's got main crop. And as I move down, you can see quite a few Brebbas. And this for sure earns its reputation as being a really great producer of Breba crop. This is another white Adriatic graft. It's done well. This is my Black Mission. Because it's a larger tree, I did put quite a few fig grafts on this one. And purchased cuttings from Harvey, Figaholics. This one is a Black Greek Unknown. You can see the union there, and it's really taken off. All of these figs. I have another graft adjacent, and it's also producing figs. So this Black Greek Unknown from Harvey seems to be very productive. This is the Figo Prado. It's supposed to be very similar to Black Madeira, if not the same. And it's fruiting. I have another one that is also putting on little figlets there. And here's an Italian 258 graft, and it's also loaded with figs. So the grafts have done really well. And I should mention this one too. This is a Tauro. And you can see the very first signs. It's going to push some figs there. At the back is a Genovese Nero. And it's got figs, main crop. Coming in nicely there. Down here I have another Italian 258 graft. It's just productive with growth. Really doing well. Get through this jungle here. Got apricots and guavas pretty dense. So this one is the Black Marseilles. And it's producing figs. Quite a few Breba as well. This is a really productive plant. Now I believe this to be Black Marseilles. That's what I purchased. Could be a different cultivar, but it's definitely my favorite thus far. The quality of the fruit, the taste is untouched by everything else I've had. Back here, the light conditions aren't that great. There's quite a bit of shading. This is a Desert King fig. I put this into the ground just yesterday, And what I had before was a super ultra tropical plant that really just didn't do anything over the course of 2 years, so I pulled it. My rule of thumb is to pull any plant that doesn't thrive and replace it with a fig, because they do so well in our climate. That was a wellspring. This is a black Triana. This gets quite a bit of shade during the day. You can see main crop on this one. And over here is the Beers Black. This was a Wellsprings plant. And I do not see any figs as of yet. Lots of growth though. So figs are pretty versatile here. They can grow in shade and they can grow in full sun. In my yard, I found. However, full sun, they seem to do the best. So out here, this was the first fig tree I planted in the yard. This is a brown turkey. I think I probably got this at a big box store. And I've put a couple grafts on here. There's a Violette de Bordeaux, green Kalamata, and this right here is a fairly pathetic cleft graft I did, but it actually took, and this is an Alma. So this is a 4-in-1 fig tree. This is my blackjack fig. I actually have been the most disappointed with this one because it really hasn't produced any fruit for me. I'm not sure why. It's been in the ground for 2 years now. Definitely gets enough light. This is a Violette de Bordeaux graft. So we'll see if that fruits this year. So this is a new plant. This is the Black Madeira. And I did get a rooted plant from Just Fruit and Exotics, mail order place in Florida. You can see it's produced a fig. Still pretty small. I've noticed with the Just Fruit and Exotic plants that they almost take like a year to really settle in. They come with kind of insubstantial root systems, so it'll take a little bit of time to get robust. Over here is a Wellsprings yellow long neck that has just thrived. I mean, it's grown quite a bit, but I don't see any fruit forming as of yet. Might be coming soon. We're going to get into the 100s here on out probably through the rest of the summer. This is the green Ischia. I have not gotten any fruit off of this that has ripened. They pretty much dropped their fruit last year. I do see a fig. See if that one gets to maturity. But the graft you see in front is a Vasilika Sika. Looks like that might be forming into some fruit soon. And then I've got a second one down here. And you can check out my grafting video on these to see what they look like. I use that Omega tool that you can get on Amazon for under 30 bucks. Allows you to do a perfect saddle graft, and that's what I've used for these fig grafts, and pretty successfully. This is a Cadota fig that I planted this spring. Used it as rootstock. The grafts that took here, this is the Bordeaux Blanca Negra, and then over here is a Ronde Bordeaux. This one is a Maroc Noir. Doesn't seem to have done all that much at this point. No fruit. I do have a few figs in the orchard, so we'll walk through there. Sorry about the sun. So this little plant I bought from Bass. This is a Bass's favorite fig. You can see two little figs on this plant. It really hasn't taken off all that much. Not sure what the issue is. It takes longer to settle in. But this is supposed to have a really great taste to it. Over here is a Violette de Bordeaux as well. A lot of fruit set already on this one. And then up top I do have another graft. You can see this is a lemon fig that I grafted on. Over here is a raspberry latte. This is one of my favorite figs that I planted. Kind of a surprise. Really delicious berry fig, super productive. Some people have said that this, takes a long time to fruit. I don't find that to be true here. If you live in a warm climate, this may be one of your best producers. I also like how the growing habit just seems to be more sprawling, low to the ground. I do also have a graft on here, if I can find it. So that's the graft. And this is a Col de Dame Gris, which is supposed to be one of the best of the Col de Dame family. So I'm excited that one took. This is the Panache Tiger. This guy is just super productive this year. This is the one that I did quite a bit of pinching experimentation on. It seems to have helped with the fruit set. Panache Tiger does just extremely well in our climate. And it is one delicious fig. The epitome of strawberry jam right there. Just takes a while for these guys to ripen up. You can see the structure of the tree is much bushier this year with that pinching strategy, so I'll keep that up. Over here is the Excel fig, and it's producing a fair amount of figs. Pretty tasty honey type fig. Does really well in our dry heat. And here we've got some grafts. So this is the Tauro. And I've got another Tauro down there. So adjacent to that raspberry latte, I have probably the tiniest fig ever growing, and that's the little ruby. This thing just does not seem to get that much bigger. I haven't got any fruit yet. It's quite small. So if you really don't have space, that's one you can plant. So over here is the Petit Negra that I really chopped back. You know, I tried quite a few grafts on this, and then they failed because I really didn't do it at the right time of the year. So it's got a real bushy structure right now, which might be advantageous for a fruit set. Over here is the Stella fig. It's putting on main crop. And then down here I've done a graft as well of Tauro. No fruit yet. The thing about the Tauro grafts were they were very slow to actually come out, and when they did, they were trying to actually produce figs rather than branches. It's kind of an unusual variety in that. So it's a little behind schedule with the others. But I'm excited to try that one, as that's reported to be pretty large sized figs. Over here is my black Ischia. I believe this was actually the first one to put out figs. They haven't really changed much in size, but our weather hasn't been all that consistent. Start to have that high heat soon sustained, so I figure it's gonna change soon, start developing to larger fruit. Over here is a Texas Blue Giant. This one's also producing figs. Quite a few. I produced last year, but they dropped. A lot of the young plants produced last year, but either it was too late in the season or they were just too young to really develop their fruit. So hopefully this year it'll be a little different. That's supposed to be a really tasty fig. Okay, over here I bought a Flanders fig, but that sure doesn't look like a Flanders. To me that looks like a Panache Tiger. So it looks like I've got another Panache Tiger, which if you're going to have two fig plants, it's not a bad one to have. Pretty tasty. Over here is a Celeste, and it's forming main crop. A little bit behind the others. This is Triana. Some say it is a fairly underrated honey type fig. What's interesting about this one is kind of similar to the white Genoa. It started producing figs when all the fig trees went dormant, all the others. Its figs actually were lost in a late freeze in February, but these main crop have come out since then. So that'll be a good one to try. We've got 2 more figs to take a look at. These kind of get the brunt of the sun setting. They're on my east wall. This is the Chicago Hardy. And it's setting figs. Starting to develop main crop in there. And it has some breb on the bottom there. But I'm hoping these will kind of create a wall to protect my vegetable garden at the back, so I don't have to put up shade structures. And this is the last one. This is the Desert King. Nice size leaves on this one. And it's got some fruit set. As you can see there. So I'm pretty excited. You know, the figs woke up late March, and pretty much all of them have some fruit set on them. So June looks like it might be the first month when I start to see ripe figs. I'm finding figs are one of the most rewarding things to grow in our climate. Every time, you know, a plant doesn't make it, I substitute it with a fig because the fruit's so nutritious. They really don't require all that much care. They take the heat. They don't require any babying. You know, delicious fruit. So if you live in a hot climate and you're not growing figs, you might want to think about it. You don't have to necessarily put them in the ground. They can do well in containers as well. Hope you enjoyed the quick fig tour. Hope to bring you more tastings throughout the year. Thanks for watching.